sick today?
I'm well. I'm improving.
You're in recovery.
I really thought I was going to be okay, and I made it through last week's episode. And then a couple of days after that,
You went hard.
Went down bad.
Yeah. I know. I haven't seen you. You've been MIA. You've been gone. You've been hiding. You've been under the covers.
Nobody wants this flu. I can promise you. It was no bueno. And not only did every single one of my children get it, I then got it. My husband is the only one who has survived.
Yet again.
No, usually he's the first to go down.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, usually I'm the last man standing.
Yeah, mamas always have the immunity because we have to be around the little ones and all their little gummy hands.
Oh, they are little petri dishes.
I know. I feel like stuff just keeps going around and around and around and around.
Oh, everyone I know has had some kind of bug in the last few weeks.
I think I was fighting it pretty hardcore over the weekend, I think. But I, not that hardcore where I was like, okay, this isn't full on something, but I don't know. I have some theories, but
you're better.
They involve B12 shots and flu
Always
shots
makes a difference. I actually had one right before I got sick, and it might have helped. I don't know. But I'm back in the land of the living, and my voice is almost recovered. I sound a little nasally, and y'all pardon me if I have to stop to cough. But I feel like a new woman comparatively.
Oh, good.
So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be back.
Here we are. We're in our comfies. I didn't wear jeans today. I do have comfy socks on because my toenails are nothing anybody wants to see.
I forgot to put on my slippers again.
Do you want your slippers?
No, it's okay. I'll wear shoes again. But I meant to wear slippers.
I know there are fans at home that would love to see your feet.
I, however, am not the wiki-feeted one. That would be you.
I'm sure you have a wiki feet rating.
I don't think I do.
Well, let's get you one. Take the shoes off. I know. My toenails are in no shape to be seen these days.
Mine aren't either.
So my wiki feet score would go down.
Next pedicure will debut my feet.
Yes, there we go. I have not had a pedicure in, oh my gosh, I don't even know how long.
Oh, we should go do that.
I know, I need to. I don't do body admin day.
It's time.
I know. But let's do a catch up. Let's find out what you're watching. What are you watching, Amanda?
Oh, okay. So I did finally start Fleishman's.
Oh, right? You don't like it?
I do.
I miss them. I told Mark yesterday, I said, I miss the Fleischmans because we've gone through it all.
Okay, I started it, so I'm not very deep in, but I know the story because I've read the synopsis of the book. So
I don't know that you do know the story, though. I'm just saying, I don't think they could cover
the thing
complexity of it.
I'm not wild about. And maybe it's because I've not experienced what they're going through in life. I've not been through a divorce or anything like that. But I feel like it glamorizes divorce.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, oh, divorce in your 30s is great because all these women are going to want you.
Well, there is that element, and that's just something that I think is a current topic that people are experiencing. I've heard this from single guys that, like, even if you weren't hot and happening in the high school, college years, like later on in life with Tinder and all these other things, there's a real appeal.
Maybe it is.
And an easy way to get some.
I like that they're addressing it with his friend, though, the girl, what's her name?
The one Lizzie Kaplan plays?
Yes, yeah. And they're like showing that she, though happily married and likes her suburban life and all of this, being around him and seeing what he's going through is making her question her own circumstance.
Well, she's a little bit jealous of his freedom, and she kind of ditches her family for a little. So it's interesting. Here's the part that I didn't get until I finished it. And by the way, Mark and I got in bed one night. We're like, let's watch the last two, and we were like, oh, there are no last two. It only ends at 8.
Well, don't spoil it.
So we thought, no. So we thought there was more, and we were like, oh, that's it? That's all we get? There's not 2 more? So because we thought we were going to 10. So we literally got in bed excited to watch 2 in a row.
And it was over.
We were like, no. So yeah, I miss them a lot because I think, Mark wasn't so thrilled with it. Same reason he's not really into The Bear. He doesn't like the depressing element of it. And I think you'll feel the opposite about the glamorizing the sex parts only in the first few episodes, really. And then the gritty divorce stuff really hits, right? So he's just kind of getting used to it now in the beginning. But then what'll happen is, what's interesting, and I wasn't expecting this really, is they'll go to the other stories. Mm-hmm. You'll see it from each point of view.
Right.
And it's really interesting because, and Mark didn't really gel with the girl's point of view. But when you watch it and you see that there's always 3 sides of a story, I don't know. It just makes you think about the circumstances. Because at first he feels like very much the victim of a divorce.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. So I think it takes some really nice twists and turns. I think it shows a lot of different perspectives. There's times when it gets a little slow, but I just miss them.
I thought it was really, I like how they represent the kids. I feel like that is pretty accurate. You know, their emotions through it all. And I like the comedy of it. Like,
there's good
when he opens the door and the woman's there, like
the woman's naked in front of his
screaming,
children.
And it was, I don't know why I'm crying. I was like, okay, that's great, but there's just elements of it that I was like, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, no, you should.
I think it's good storytelling. So good. However, if that narrator doesn't shut up, there's
that's
so
Lizzie
much.
Kaplan. That's the girl.
I get it, but why?
I think she will. I don't think I think after like 3 episodes or something, she starts to subside a little bit. It becomes more, it becomes a little bit more angled from her point of view as well.
Yeah.
And Claire Danes' character's angle as well. So you do get a little bit more. He's not always like there's
so much narration,
poor victim.
Though. I feel like just show me what's going on. I don't need you to read it to me.
That keeps going, or maybe you get used to it, because it did sort of like by episode 2, I was sort of like, all right.
Also, I love the 90s reunion, early 2000s reunion happening in this cast. That is like straight up everyone.
Yeah,
from everything.
It's great. It's a great cast for sure. Yeah, Jason. What's his name?
The guy from How I Met Your
Mother. Yeah.
Adam Brody.
Oh yeah.
The girl.
I forgot about him.
Claire
Lizzie
Danes.
Kaplan, Claire Danes. Yeah. And a bunch of other familiar faces. I know. I'm like, why can't I be one of the yoga moms?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Well, Jesse Eisenberg's from Social Network. I just cannot think of
Brain
him as anything
says that
but
he's just always going to play Woody Allen now from now on.
Really?
Because that's what he's doing in this.
You think that's what Jesse's doing is Woody Allen? Well, I mean, he's not so far off from his Mark Zuckerberg, to be honest. Like, I think it's just And I've met Jesse before backstage at some talk shows and stuff. And my girlfriends were reminding me when I was talking about the show recently, my girlfriends that went with me, and they were like, we met him. Remember, he gave you a coin. Like, he was doing I think he was doing that magic movie at the time and maybe was testing some of it on me in the dressing room. I don't know. It was interesting. He's a quirky guy. He's a true artiste, I believe. What about Shrinking? Did you watch it?
I love
It's funny.
Shrinking.
It's funny.
It's so good.
But it reminds me so much of like Ricky Gervais' Afterlife or Amy Schumer's Life and Beth. Like it's that, again, kind of like Fleischman's quirky comedy, not as stylized.
Dark comedy. Not as stylized, not as
it's fun though. It's
formulaic, I would say. It is
it's broad comedy, but also with that subtle quirkiness. I don't know. It feels like a traditional sitcom in a sense. But again, 2 episodes and I was like, I'm ready for the next one. Where is it?
I know. I was so disappointed. So we haven't mentioned, it's on Apple TV.
Oh yeah, so Shrinking, it's an Apple TV show with Jason Segal from How
I Met Your Mother. Harrison Ford is in it.
Harrison Ford is an interesting character.
Krista Miller from Scrubs.
Okay.
And Bill Lawrence is the creator who created Scrubs, which makes sense because all of these characters are.
Jason Segal must have had something to do with it, though. I feel like he was probably involved.
And I think
in
it's the same guys who did the Ted Lasso stuff too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which makes sense. It's all these
because it is feel good. Yeah. It's funny. It's But you know what made me a little bit mad in the 2nd episode? So I don't think I'm giving anything away here.
What
was that? Harrison Ford ends up fathering his. So Jason Segal, his character has lost his wife, right, and is raising his teenage daughter, but he's a therapist, and he kind of has a breakdown one day in session, and he kind of starts telling this girl she should just break up with the douchebag she's dating who's causing her so much pain, and then he starts kind of trying to use that theory of like, being brutally honest with people and telling them exactly what they need to hear as opposed to like dancing around it to let them come to their own conclusions. Mm-hmm. He's sort of giving them the conclusion, I feel like. Jessica Williams is she plays Gabby, and it's a fantastic cast. But he's raising his daughter. Is his daughter? Oh, Krista Miller's the neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Who's taking care of his daughter. So his neighbor's kind of like taking care of his daughter. Oh, and my friend Ted McGinley plays her husband, who I just adore. And so they're kind of helping raise his daughter, but he starts kind of wanting to take care of her himself. But Harrison Ford is like, she's leaning on him almost like in a grandpa role. Mm-hmm. And that kind of bothered me because I was like...
But so is he.
Yeah. They both sort of lean on...
Jason Segal, there's definitely like a father figure, like a distant father figure situation happening there. So that made sense to me.
That's true. But the Jessica, what's that character's name? Gabby? that character who he works with, Jessica Williams, says she's the godmother, but so Liz points out like, well, why haven't you been around then for the daughter? And that does bring some. I'm hoping they're going to touch on that again.
I'm sure that will come back
because I really want that.
Yeah, me too.
But it's a really fun show, and I just wish there were more of them already. Like
me too. I mean, I understand why they do it. They got to spread it out and give us some time. But I kind of miss the days of the entire season went up.
Well, yeah.
Watch it all.
Well, it's funny because we were always saying we missed the days of appointment television, and now here we are going like, well, where's the whole season? I need the whole season. Although I will tell you, so 1923, have you watched that one?
No.
So boring.
Oh, no. You were so excited about it.
Freaking boring. It's not like 1883. Although her voice is there. The narrator is Isabel May, who was the girl in, but spoiler alert, 1883, she dies at the end. But she's still narrating this one. So I'm kind of curious. And her name is in the credits. And I don't know if that's just because of the narration, but I'm wondering how she's going to. She's sort of like the narrator for the whole family, for like the Yellowstone, whatever their names are, family. The, what are they? The Duncans? What are they? Anyway.
I do not know.
What is it? Oh, Dutton. She's sort of the narrator for the Dutton family. I feel like Isabel May is the. Maybe she's just going to be the voice of all of these. But I feel like they skip too much too. Because Harrison Ford is playing. Like Isabel May is a teenage girl in 1883, and her little brother is probably 9 or 10. And it now 1923 is about that brother being grown up and being like the patriarch of the family. But I mean, he's Harrison Ford. He's older and he's running the ranch now. So you've missed a bunch of generations. I mean, you've missed like sort of like maybe it feels like you've skipped two generations of people and what happened, how they built the ranch. Like
in 40 years, you
there.
missed 2 generations. Is that right?
No, you miss like, well, he's the younger generation, but like you don't get to see like the Faith Hill, Tim McGraw.
I guess it's 60 years.
Could be 2 generations. Well, you miss like his parents. His parents are not like they haven't found the. You haven't found the location for the ranch yet. You haven't built the ranch, and yet here we are. The ranch is built, and now they're fighting for their land.
Okay.
So it just feels like they skipped too much. Like you didn't get to see Tim McGraw grow old, and you didn't get to see this boy grow up.
Honestly, not that disappointing because who wants to see Tim McGraw grow old?
I know, but if you're telling a story,
okay, fine.
It's okay if it's not Tim McGraw. But like, why couldn't Harrison Ford be Tim McGraw as an older man who's settled on the land now and he's building the house? Because now, I mean, Harrison Ford's now the grandfather, so now you're, so technically you're missing almost like 3 generations of stories. But I'm sure they're going to get to that.
I bet they go back and forth.
Yeah, I hope so. Does anybody know?
It's such a like popular.
But scenario. I don't know. If you guys are liking 1923, let me know. Hit us up in the comments of our Instagram. Because like, should I keep going? Because I'm bored. I mean, there's some, cowboy action happening. They hung some guys on a horse the other day. But like, I'm bored. Like, I'm not digging it that much.
So Harrison Ford stepping into television.
Yeah, everybody is. There's no more. When I was growing up, it was
he was a movie star.
Television, you're a TV star, and I was like, yeah, sorry. Now all these like A-list actors are coming into movie stars.
I guess with streaming though, the budget for some of these things are probably
oh my gosh,
quadruple.
You get paid $1 million. You show up for a few weeks, come to Montana, be on a ranch, ride a horse. Great, done. And I think Kevin Costner, you can tell when they're like hesitant to do it. I don't think Kevin Costner ever intended on doing it, which is why all of a sudden, spoiler alert, but Yellowstone season 1, he's like, I'm dying of cancer, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, it's just an ulcer. I'm over it. You're like, well, I'm sorry, what? We just threw away the cancer storyline? That's interesting. But I feel like Kevin Costner was probably like, I'll do like, 6 episodes and I'm out. And then he was like, no, this is kind of fun, easy money. Yeah, this is better than doing a long running movie and whatever. Let's keep doing this. But then, if you think about it, Nicole Kidman, how many shows has she had?
A lot now.
She's had, it started with the one with Reese Witherspoon with, what was it called? They live in Malibu.
Lies.
What was it?
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. So Big Little Lies, right? 2 seasons?
9 Perfect Strangers.
9 Perfect Strangers. I was like, strangers. Yeah, 9 Perfect Strangers. But look, this is a girl who was in like Moulin Rouge and Far and Away and, Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, she was a big movie star. I mean, being the Ricardos recently. But now she's doing all these TV shows, right? And I think what's interesting, though, I just was watching that movie, Just Go With It. Mm-hmm. You know, that Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston. And she's like not minor, she's a great character in it. But I just found it interesting that she would sign on to do that kind of part in a movie. It just seems like she's game for any role she likes.
Yeah.
Which is the kind of actor you want. That shows me they're not a diva.
Yeah.
You know, they're not like, well, I'm not going to do I'm not going to take a second seat to Jennifer Aniston. Like, she's like, yeah, let's do that.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
And when Reese Witherspoon is producing a TV show, she's like, yeah, let's do that. You know, I think that it's nice she doesn't always have to be number one on the call sheet.
Well, also, when you've got that Friends money coming in, you get to be a little picky.
Well, she does, but Nicole Kidman doesn't have to be up against her. You know what I mean?
No, that's true.
It could be anyone else in that role.
How
it could
about
be Amy
the fact
Schumer
that they're on
role.
different streaming networks, like against each other?
What, her shows?
No, well, like back to Harrison Ford. Like, he's got one on Apple. He's got one on what?
Yeah, but it could be the same studio. He's on.
Oh, you think so?
Paramount Plus, I think, is right. I think 1923 is on Paramount Plus, and then he's got Apple. But it could be that they're both, produced through Lionsgate or Fox Studios, or
okay.
so
that makes sense.
The same people can be hiring them, and then it's just distributed differently.
Or you're just Harrison Ford and nobody cares.
Nobody cares. But then there's Handmaid's Tale. What's her name? Elizabeth Moss has done like 3 other shows as well. Like, she's not only, I only think of her for Handmaid's Tale, but she did an Apple.
Did you know McKenna Grace is in Handmaid's Tale?
I do.
Like, whoa, is she in Handmaid's Tale?
So when I was directing Young Sheldon, McKenna Grace, who's also like Ghostbusters, like
yes, I think of her as this like child star, but
Yeah.
she's doing like some deep stuff.
I was directing her on Young Sheldon, and I think the new season of Handmaid's Tale, like season 3, had come out, but I hadn't watched it yet. And I'm directing her on Young Sheldon, and she has to do like an almost kiss with Sheldon. And these are little kids. They're like 12, 13. And so I'm trying to make it like she's supposed to be like, close your eyes. And then she goes in for a kiss, but really she draws a mustache on his face. And I'm trying to be delicate with like how awkward that could be.
Right.
The almost kiss thing. And they're young and they're sitting on a park bench in front of a whole crew. And I was like, look, if you just want to like, let's just practice it a few times so you feel comfortable with it. And like, they're not even kissing. But I'm very like, I'm noticing that like there could be some tension or weirdness.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. So anyway, I go home and I watch Handmaid's Tale the next week, and she is like one of the wives, like helping to rape, like talking about rape and being, I was like, oh my gosh. Here I was tiptoeing around the almost kiss.
And she's
talking about this brutal, like adult topic.
Yeah, I had no idea. And I got served her Facebook the other day, which I follow, or her Instagram the other day. And I mean, I just think she's the greatest, most talented little girl ever. And
she is so sweet. And she's agreed to be on our podcast. We just haven't been able to make the times work out.
Well, we'll make it work one of these days. And but I saw like this little clip from Handmaid's Tale on it. I was like, oh. So I just dived down the internet rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in tears watching these scenes, and I don't even watch the show.
I'm halfway through Handmaid's Tale, and I'm not sure what happened to her. I just know
oh my gosh,
there's an episode where she brutally, she's a phenomenal actress. I mean, whether she's doing comedy on Young Sheldon,
she's going to win like every Oscar one day, I'm certain of it.
Unless she's doing like murder-suicide stuff on Handmaid's Tale. Like either way, she is just killing it. I mean,
and she can sing and dance.
Can she sing?
Yes, she's released all this music.
Oh, she is just like, she's raw too. Like she pays attention. She has a knack for diving into other people. Like probably, I haven't seen a child actor like that since like Natalie Portman maybe.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, like I thought like Millie Bobby Brown would be that way, but I haven't really seen her break out of 11. I can't say that I've seen it enough.
She was really cute in that Enola Holmes.
I didn't see that.
You should watch.
Yeah. Okay.
Tucker especially would love it.
Really?
She's Sherlock Holmes' sister.
Oh.
And she's running his
oh my gosh.
Office.
I would love that. Tucker
It's
would
really
love
cute.
that. All right, I have to watch that. But what's the other one? Hold on. You just reminded me. There's a show I really want to watch. It's about Romeo and Juliet's friend that Romeo almost hooked up with.
Oh no.
What is it called?
I don't know. I haven't heard of
ask
this.
the brain to look it up. Like it is. What is it called? It's like it's the name of the cousin, and she's mentioned like once or twice.
Is it new?
It's like maybe 6 months old. I think I saw it a while ago, and I forgot all about it until
Okay.
you just said that right now.
We'll
and I
get
was
the
like,
brain on it.
yeah, it's called like whatever the cousin's name is, and I think she's mentioned like twice in the story. Rosaline. That's so. It looks so funny. Who is in that though?
I don't know. That is so funny.
So Amanda, you know how sometimes you'll find like a strange birthmark and like we'll send it to our group chat.
The picture of, is this normal?
Is this normal? What should I do about this? What do you think this is? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea to text your group chat people about your health problems?
It's probably not great because you're not really likely to find great medical advice.
It's definitely a bad idea to ask your friends or go down the rabbit hole of TikTok or Googling something about your symptoms.
You will most likely always be dying.
You will within 2 clicks you could be dying. Like that's the way it will go if you don't use a professional doctor and get a true medical opinion.
We have a way to make that way easier through one of our new sponsors, ZocDoc.
Yes, on ZocDoc you'll find quality doctors who focus on you, listen to you, and prioritize your care, unlike your text group chat TikTok people.
I mean, they care about us, but maybe not as much as
they
a doctor.
do, but they don't know what they're talking about. So you got to go to ZocDoc. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun.
No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect you to your favorite doctor, and you haven't met them yet.
Yeah, millions of people use ZocDoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who is patient-reviewed and fits their needs and schedule just right.
So go to ZocDoc.com/WWB and download the ZocDoc app for free.
Yeah.
Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
Yeah, when you're not feeling your best and just trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all your energy. So go to ZocDoc, that's ZocDoc.com/WWB, ZocDoc.com/WWB. And thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring What Women Binge. So
Football.
This last weekend
What you got?
was the playoffs. How aware are you of all this?
I am aware. I was in a room where one was on.
You were in a room where a game was on?
Yes, and the Chiefs won.
Okay. Well, at least you know who won. Who's the quarterback?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, but there was I'm a little actually disturbed about that game because that was the Bengals Chiefs, right? And the Chiefs won by a kick with 3 seconds left, I think it was. But Patrick Mahomes got
That's the quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes, yes. And the other one was Joe Burrows, who I'm not a fan of.
I don't
Burrows.
know that one.
Not a fan of the Burrows. But one of the Bengals players was fired this week because he had a late hit out of bounds on Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. So Patrick Mahomes released the ball. He's out of bounds, and the player came in and hit him late, which then was a 15-yard penalty. But as the player is going to kind of hurdle, Patrick Mahomes has a busted leg. Like he's in pain. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes, sorry. Thought I said Joe Burrows for a second. Mahomes has like a busted leg or like a bad knee. And this player pushes him out of bounds and kind of hurdles him, trying not to step on him, which is a nice thing to do. You could easily be in the other team, like be like, I'm going to end you Karate Kid style, right? Like you could totally sweep the leg and be like, you're done. But he doesn't. He steps over him, which then his leg buckles. If you watch the video, my friend that was watching it with me, Omali, who's in she's a doctor, and she freaked out and grabbed me and squeezed me so hard because the way his leg bent was so unnatural. And he hurts himself trying not to hurt Mahomes, but he gets a foul. He gets a penalty, 15 yards, which then puts him in field goal range, which is when the Chiefs win. So the Bengals now blame this player. No one comes. The guy is crying his eyes out on the bench. I mean, heaving and tearing, puts his face, covers his face and is heaving and crying. And all the Bengals leave the field, and the Chiefs have now won, and they're going to the Super Bowl, and the Bengals have lost it. And I am assuming they all blamed it on that player because of the 15 yards. That's when they were close enough. I mean, look, that kicker could have gotten that kick anyway. It would have been a long kick, probably would have gotten it. So they probably would have won anyway. But it seems to me the Bengals blame him for it. And he was, I guess, was he ejected from the game? Anyway, he's been fired, which I think is so wrong. Nobody came to comfort it. One player came up and kind of comforted him. But nobody rallied around him. And I thought with the DeMar Hamlin thing, we learned a little something about humanity and being he didn't do the thing he could have done, which was hurt the player. Yeah, he had a late hit. But when you're playing an aggressive sport,
how can you even stop that momentum?
There's a little bit of how late is late? It just, I don't know. It's a difficult thing for me to wrap my head around. It just seems like I have no faith in that organization anymore. Sorry, Bengals fans out there, but I feel like they are there's some toxic stuff happening back behind the scenes there, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And it makes me really sad, especially when I saw the Bengals come out for Damar Hamlin and pray on the field with him and come together with the other team and come to the hospital.
But there might be more to it than that. You never know.
I hope so, but I mean, it just seems like the kid did the right thing. I say kid only because he's probably 20 years younger than me, but you know, he did the right thing by like hurdling over Patrick instead of hurting him more, you know, just being cautious of that while in the meantime injuring himself, possibly like a season-ending, well, it is a season-ending injury because the season's over anyway. But it just seems unfair to me. It makes me sad. It makes me sad. It makes me mad. Mark and I had a big talk while brushing our teeth this morning about it. Oh. And he's my like football guru, so I have to like take what he says and, you know. I like to say I regurgitate his football knowledge.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that we all, I regurgitate the brain's pop culture knowledge all the time.
There you go.
Speaking of pop culture, I do know who the other team that's going to the Super Bowl.
Who is it?
It's the Eagles.
It is the Eagles.
Ask me how I know.
What? How do you know?
Because the Bella twins were really excited about it.
Oh, no way. Because they're from
WWE.
The Eagles are from...
Oh, I don't know.
Philadelphia.
I don't know. But did you watch the Nikki Bella Artem, first episode of the wedding special?
No, you know what? Their stuff's not being fed to me anymore on Instagram, the damn algorithm.
Well, that's really sad. You need to go refollow because there's lots of exciting things going on.
Okay. I'll have to go like one of their posts. So I'll have to search them out. I hate that stupid algorithm does that now. You lose people.
Nikki Bella and Artem, you know, they got married. And so they're doing this like 4-week wedding special on E! And it's so good. I've missed them. I missed their show.
You're so funny.
So much. So.
The Divas, were they the Divas?
Yeah. The Bella twins.
Didn't they have another one too, though? Do they have another show?
Yeah, they had just the two of them for years.
Was it called the Bella Twins? No.
Yeah.
And then there was another one, the Divas.
Total Bellas. That's what it was
Total
called.
Bellas.
And then before that was Total Divas.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do like them. And I like Paige, too. Those are some of my favorite wrestlers, I have to say.
The Royal Rumble was this weekend in other wrestling news.
Okay.
Riker hosted Riker's Snackdown. Y'all, when I tell you this kid, it was his Aunt Jen, who is our production assistant, is so proud of him because she is the party hostess with the mostest. Like, if you go to any of her parties, like, the foods are themed. There's little signs. I
used to do that.
I mean, it all comes together. So
I love that.
The entire week, Riker was like, "You're going to be better by Saturday, right? You're going to be better." And I was like, "Oh, honey, I hope. I don't know." And y'all, I was still struggling, but I like got it together. So Saturday morning, he comes bounding in. "You're better, right?" Oh. And I was like, "I'm going to rally. It's going to be okay."
So we had a little party?
Well, I mean, if you call inviting his best friend and his parents over, sure. So we invited our friend Martha Ann and her son Foster. Came over? And so as soon as they said yes, they would come, Riker and Logan take off. And they're like in planning mode. They come back from the grocery store and they have basically every sweet you can imagine. And there is a nickname for each thing. Like there were twin snakes. They were tag teams.
I'm going to have to pick your brain on this because I have to do the same thing for Space Week.
Oh, it was super cute. Oh, and I mean, down to like the chips. Were so like, cute. Oh, there was WW cheese.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, that's a good one.
It was so cute.
Did he make little signs, like little?
Oh, yeah. Oh. He had me label everything, and they're still on the kitchen table. It says Riker Smackdown because I can't bring myself to take it down because it was so cute.
That's so cute.
But it was precious. And so we did the Royal Rumble, and that was really fun.
Speaking of Royal, I finished Spare.
Oh, you finished it.
I'm very sad that you don't like him like I do. Like I
want to like him so much.
I've been writing down things as I go, and I want to read these to you because I'm really sad. I'm really sad that you don't agree.
Well, here's the thing. I'm endeared to him, but I feel like he is losing me.
Okay. Here's the thing I feel about. Okay. I wrote this. His life is under a microscope for all to speculate and rumor about, but he has no platform to remove bottle, I don't know what that means, or speak his truth until now. So I feel like what I meant by that was he has always been under this microscope, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone has always said awful things about him. And it seems like he has a big beef with Camilla, that she came in with a PR stunt to try to make Charles a more popular soon-to-be king.
Right.
And now king. But she's kind of at the expense of Harry. Like, Harry has always been the one that's been called trouble. And since he kind of had that that label already. They kind of played into it more to make Charles look like the poor dad and Harry. But I don't think you could ever not love Harry. Like, I just adore him. And I think that the royals in general are not allowed. They apparently, according to the book, they have this agreement with the press where they're not allowed to kind of, they're allowed to feed stories, but they're not allowed to negate them or something. Like, there's this weird codependent relationship with the press and the royals. And he never could understand when the palace would decide to rebut something and not talk about others. Like, he got in trouble sometimes and he was like, I want to do an apology. They're like, no, you're not going to do an apology, but Charles would do an apology or something. Like, it was very strange, right? And it seems like it was all very he also talks about the Bee and the Wasp and these other guys that kind of run the Queen's stuff. Mm-hmm. And these guys are sort of like the politicians that are placed to kind of move things around. So he wants to talk to his grandma and she goes, yeah, I got all next week free. Let's come on.
Oh, yeah. I'm at that part.
And then he doesn't, and then he goes to hang out with his grandma and it's been, oh, sorry, my darling boy, I'm busy. I can't do it. And he's like, you are? And she's like, yeah, the wasp or the bee says that I can't do it. And she's like, is he there right now? And she doesn't answer. And it's like, so he just told her she's now got a busy agenda, so she can't see her grandson and talk about the thing he wanted to talk about. And so he never got, and he just talks about almost like constantly, I feel like almost every chapter starts with some headline that the press threw out there that he never got the chance to respond to. He never had a voice. And this book, as much as he's like trying to push away the press and he's sort of a hypocrite in the way of being like, leave me alone, but here's my story.
Yeah.
Like, but he also never had the chance to rebut any of this. And I think that's really unfair.
I don't know.
Every human should be able to like tell their side.
But I think for me, maybe it's because of certain things I've dealt with before, but the people who know you, the ones that matter, know the truth.
Yeah.
And so in those kind of situations, like, that's what I care about. Like, I don't really care. And maybe it's different for him.
I think he's trying to change things because I think he has a lot of like, in the third section of the book, right? So the first section is about his mom and his childhood. The second section is really about his military service, which I was really impressed with. I didn't know he had 25 kills in Afghanistan and that stuff. But then when you go to the third section, it's really Megan. It's about marriage and babies and therapy and working through stuff and realizing that he didn't have any memories of his mom, and in therapy now starting to dig out some memories of his mother. And he starts to see flashes of stuff with the press and with Megan that frightens him. Like this one story, did you get to the story where Megan is going to go out and make dinner and he like directs her to a Whole Foods, but when she comes back, she starts getting recognized in the store and people start taking pictures of her and the cashiers aren't helping her out and no one will let her, and then she goes outside and people are taking pictures of her and they chase her down the street and she can't get back in the palace. The gate is blocked. There's like some processional or something's happening and she can't get back in the palace, and it sounds like she's like, I couldn't quite get the geography of it, but I think she's like running all around the palace trying to find a way in, and she can't escape. She can't get in. So I just can't even imagine how terrifying that could be when, and I think it's really interesting too because he talks about pandas. For some reason he talks about pandas a lot, and he says in this one section, and he said this quote that I thought was really, really interesting. He says, when you turn people into animals, into non-people, it's the first step in mistreating them, in destroying them. He's like, it's like being pandas locked in a cage. Like and I was like, I understand that. I had to listen to it like 2 or 3 times. Turning people into animals, into non-people is the first step in mistreating them, in destroying them. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. Like when you're in this gilded cage and people think that they're protecting you or preserving you, but really they're mistreating you and they're able to destroy you.
Yeah. I mean, look, I have great sympathy for what they've gone through with the press. I really do. I think I personally have a hard time trying to figure out why he cares so much what other people think.
I think he just want to set the record straight. I honestly think they want to be, and here's the thing, he's got to make money. His dad and Will have the purse strings.
Again, it's not straight because there are 3 sides to every story.
Yeah.
And so it is just adding, I think, to the noise.
Well, he says very clearly in the beginning, this is my story. This is the way I remember it. I could be very wrong, but this is the way I remember it.
But to me, that just says, this is my story. I might be lying to you.
No, I think that says, because I feel that way. I wish I had started my book that way because it's like, other people might have different memories of this, or there's, I remember a certain, I might remember a party, right? But I remember like my point of view of that party, or what that person said to me in that one moment that made me judge them or feel a certain way or want to leave the party. But there's other things going on, but this is how I felt in the moment.
Right. And there is a difference in your truth and the truth. And so you kind of have to like go,
but all he wants to do is
telling?
Tell you this is the way I saw it. And I thought it was really interesting too. I hadn't thought of it like the queen has the money, and then like there's royal money, and then Charles has the purse strings, and then Will gets to decide next. So like Will won't let him do charity work in Africa because he wants that to himself. He's like, you already get the military stuff. Like, I'm going to take the Africa stuff. And he feels very strongly about Botswana. And I'm like, I just feel like there's this whole thing. Charles and Camilla also did a whole thing where they wouldn't allow Will and Kate to outshine them when it came their turn to sort of get married and whatnot. They really didn't want them to outshine them. I
think there's so much more to this that we couldn't possibly understand.
No, for sure. But I can see just even the little bit of celebrity that I feel like I've seen of being chased by paparazzi or having people misconstrue me in the press or just constantly taking sound bites out of context. I can see how easily it would be to be one of the most famous faces, especially when your mom's the most famous person in the world.
Of course, yeah.
To have so many stories about you out there, be so upset. See, and it seems
I
all he
just think
wants
I'd
is
rather
privacy.
keep it to myself, and I think that's a personal preference.
Well, what I was going to say was I think that they wrote the book because I'm sure he made millions on it. He doesn't have any money. Like they didn't. He was promised by his grandmother that he would be protected. That's all he cared about. He says, all I care about is being protected. I don't need the money from the royal family. I just need to be protected right now because we're the number one royals under attack in the world right now. And like more so than the Queen, more so than Charles, more so than Will. He and Meghan had the biggest target on them. And they can't afford their own. They pull the security out from under them. Literally, the security guards come to them and go, we have to leave. And he's like, I don't want to do it, but I have to leave. Like, we're not allowed to be here anymore. And they leave and they're left defenseless. They go stay at Tyler Perry's house, who promises them, like, I've got security there. You can go stay there for a while. And then they have to leave there as well, like 3 months later when the paparazzi figure out where they are. But in order to pay for it, how are you going to do that? He's like, he says he wasn't mad that they cut him off. He was mad that they never allowed him to create his own money. He has no way to make money. He's never been taught anything. They stripped him of his military titles, which was all he had before this, and now he's got nothing. So he's got a name. He's Prince Harry. So he can sell a book. He can go on Oprah. Well, I'm sure they got paid $5 million to be on Oprah, probably $20 million for the book, something like that, right? Something. Yeah. And a big portion of this book is going to charity. So I thought that was nice.
I think I have a hard time feeling sympathy.
Oh, I do. I feel so much sympathy.
And here's the thing. It's not that I discount the struggle. I do. And trust me, security for my family is like, the number one thing. But if I can figure it out, I think he probably could.
Yeah, but he's in his mid-30s and he was never given the opportunity to hold a job.
But he was given the opportunity for everything.
Is he going to go be a bagger at Publix? Like, I don't know what kind of job he's qualified for.
He also has an education that rivals, he's literally royalty. He had the best education in the whole world.
Well, did he?
Yeah.
I don't think he
He's a pilot. He's all these things.
Yeah.
He can do
Queen Elizabeth clearly says that she was not educated in any way except to be a pretty girl.
And look, I'm not saying it is easy to make those transitions. I would never, ever, ever discount their hurt, their mental health struggles, any of that. I'm just saying my sympathy for we couldn't take care of ourselves is, you're staying
I don't know.
in all of these places for free for months at a time. I think I could figure out how to make some money with a couple weeks away.
With your name. His wife has to go back to work.
The most expensive house in Southern California.
But then people are judging Meghan for going back to work. And I'm like, well, if she's the one that can make money, then she should go back to work.
No, I think go to work. I think do all of that. And again, Meghan, my judgment with her is simply that I can't read her. And she's an actress. I'm not supposed to be able to read her. I
watched the interviews just because I wanted to read this book without any kind of judgment on her because I don't know her. I don't know anything.
It's not really about
her.
The book is very
it's really not.
About
but
him.
He's so in love with her, man. That's a good thing to see too, though. It's nice to see because I was, it made me think about my own book too because I was like, because someone actually pointed out, I think in our comments of questions last week that it was a fan at a Comic-Con. Someone said to me, in your book you talk about you and Mark from the perspective of someone who's been married a long time as opposed to what it was like to see him or meet him and fall in love with him in the beginning.
Oh, you get all googly when you talk about that.
But I didn't in the book. Apparently, I kind of just jumped into it with the perspective of, we were going to be in love. I like the way Harry did it in his book, where he talks about what he thought about her when he first saw her and how dazzled he was by her smile or whatever. Like, he gets into the details of what he liked about her and how he fell in love with her and what he fell in love with. And I think that's... I kind of was like, damn, I should have done that in my book. I feel like I didn't quite hit that.
You can always...
No, I'm definitely not. I'm never writing another book. I'm done with that. I'm done with that crap. Actually, that's not true. I do have a book I want to write, but it's not about myself.
Should we talk about what our friends have commented this week?
Yeah, let's talk about... Let's bring up some fan questions. Guys, every week on our Instagram page, you guys can check out our...
Listeners.
You can ask us questions. Oh, but this week, what we want to do, or for next week, what we want you to do is go on Apple and Apple Podcasts. Everyone has it for free on your Apple phone if you have an Apple phone. The little purple podcast thing, or just pull down on the page and write podcast, and your podcast app will come up. And then you can subscribe to us. And then while you're there, rate and review. And if you write in the reviews, write your questions in the reviews, and we will answer those questions next week.
Or just write a review, and our favorite ones, we'll read them.
Yeah. Well, and not just the good ones. We'll read the bad ones too, I promise. I know. You don't like bad things, but I like
5 stars
criticism.
only.
I like criticism. I mean, I don't want you to... I do want 5 stars, but you can write a review that's maybe not
We would prefer our podcast rankings stay up. So
no, for sure. So 5 stars would be helpful to keep us to keep us going here, guys. But you can review whatever you want.
Okay, so...
What do we got?
Is it Body with Steph?
Yeah, I think so. Body
with Steph says, I just finished The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Woo,
Yay!
I loved it. Thank you for the recommendation. I've read or listened to a few books that I heard about on your podcast, including Wish You Were Here and Rita Moreno's autobiography. That's a winner too.
Yes.
Next on my list is Seven Husbands. Yes, you're going to love it.
Hugo, read it before they make that movie.
Also, I have In 5 Years in my queue. You're going to love that one too. Luckily, I'm a librarian. Oh, well, she should be giving us the recommendations.
Right?
And this is part of my job, but I now work in administration and I don't see a lot of new books coming in. So
no.
I love your recommendations. What should I add to my queue next? Okay. Codename Helene.
Codename Helene is
for
fantastic.
Sure.
And we're going to do a book club episode in a few weeks, I think.
Yes.
Right? So
we've got some coming up. Let's see. What else? I did do The Wellbone Theater if you like a long, lazy read. I wouldn't say it's like everyone needs to read it because it is definitely, you gotta, it's only for certain tastes.
Really?
Yes. But if you like World War II history, Downton Abbey, those kind of things, British culture, you'll love that. But
well, I didn't know that Fleishman's in Trouble was a book, you said?
Yeah.
So that could be a good one.
Yeah.
That could be a fun one to read.
I've not read the full book, so I cannot attest.
Some old-timey ones. I mean, if you haven't, you should definitely read Catcher in the Rye at some point in your life, right? Oh, I love it. You don't like it? Oh, I love it.
No.
It's so me.
No. But we'll get together some good recommendations and we'll do a book club episode soon.
Like, I would say The Nightingale is probably one of my all-time favorites from
Colleen Hoover?
Kristen Hanna.
Oh, Kristen Hanna. That's what I meant.
Oh, what's the one that's they just announced? Is it a movie or show?
Oh, Blake Lively and what's his name?
Yeah. The movie.
That's Colleen Hoover.
Oh gosh.
It Ends With Us.
Yeah, and they have an end cap. What do you call it in Target? That's like all of her books. Which I think I asked you. I was like, who's this Colleen Hoover who does a billion books I've never heard of?
Where have you been?
But so it's what is it called in the?
I think it's
How
It
We
Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us, and then there's It Begins With Us.
Oh yeah, there's like a whole.
But is Begins With Us the first of the? I would
hang on. I'll
think
tell you.
that's the first one, but it seems it's not. If that's not the first movie they're doing.
Colleen Hoover.
But there's a. Oh, and definitely if you haven't done Where the Crawdads Live, even though it's
It Ends
or
With
Where
Us.
the Crawdads Sing.
It is the first one.
Okay, good.
And the newest one is It Starts With Us.
Okay, and then she's got a ton of others. I haven't read her stuff, but that's next on my list. I want to do.
They're fast reads. You would like it.
But Where the Crawdads Sing is like one of my all-time favorite.
Yeah, everyone needs to read that one.
For sure. Alchemist. The Alchemist is a good classic.
Yeah.
Have you ever read The Red Tent?
No.
I think I'm going to reread that one. I read that a long time ago. Memoirs of a Geisha too is one I loved a long time ago. It's dark.
Sad.
It's dark and sad, but it's so good. Madonna apparently wanted to do that movie, which I think that's why the movie got squashed for a while. They ended up doing it eventually, but Madonna wanted to play the geisha in that apparently.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go well.
That was a long time ago. But Red Tent is like a biblical female story. It's like, if I remember it correctly, it's just basically taking some of the women out of the Bible, or one woman maybe out of the Bible, can't remember who, and talking about what it would have been like to be a woman back then. And have to go to the red tent when
you're menstruating.
When you are, yes. Yeah. When it's your special time, or when you're having babies.
I gotcha. So, yeah, I think I have heard of that, but I've not read that one.
Real quick, Daisy Jones and the Six, one of our favorite books in book club.
Yes.
The trailer came out.
It looks so good.
It does look good. You know what? I have to say, I like the book. I did it on tape. I did a book on tape. I think I told you this before.
I did too, because I've heard to listen to it, and I think that was
I think I told you
the right way to do it.
My story. My friend was like, "Oh, you got to listen to this," and I was driving from LA to Tahoe, and I did not know that it was not a biography. So I stopped to pump gas, and I called her. It was about 2 hours into the book, and I was like, "This is an incredible story. Why have I never heard of this band before?" And she's like, "Melissa, it's fiction." And I was like, "Oh."
Also, we just said book on tape.
Yeah, they're called audiobooks these days.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get into vintage electronics, but we'll do that next week because that goes into plays into that book on tape. But wait, I didn't know that is the girl playing Daisy is
Lisa Marie's daughter.
Lisa Marie's daughter, Elvis's granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Elvis's granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Riley Keough.
She seems like she can sing.
Uh-huh.
Talk about like classic Nepo baby who deserves it, by the way.
So talented.
Let's let the Nepo baby thing go, people, because it's worth it. But I'm excited to see this. It actually looks better than I remember the book being. Like the book I think was interesting, but this it looks like it's in the 70s.
They nailed the look. It's gritty. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
tragic.
I can't
it seems.
wait.
Yeah, I think it looks really good.
They show the desert scene, and I'm like,
I don't remember it that well. I think because I didn't read it, I didn't get to soak it all in.
I'm so pumped.
So I'm
This will
excited.
be like girls' night out. We're all wearing our bell bottoms, and
there you go. We have bell bottoms.
Well, we will.
I have boot cut. Does that count?
No, we're getting you some real flares.
Oh,
it's time.
Geez.
And platform
I'm too short
shoes.
for that stuff. My hips are too big. I'm too short.
No, they make everything more proportionate.
You think?
Yes.
I just think I look like I don't know.
No, they
a bell.
Especially when you're curvy, they I don't know.
Yeah.
It evens everything out. I like it.
I don't know. I feel like a free weight. Like
someone's
gonna
like
curl
in
me.
skinny jeans, I just look like a lollipop. It's not good.
All right.
Like you know what I mean? Or like a cotton candy. Like
cotton candy. Nice. Amanda, it's a new year, new you.
New year, new eyeballs.
New eyewear. How about that?
Yeah, with Pair Eyewear, our newest sponsor here on What Women Binge. I'm rocking this.
Yeah, it's super fun, right?
Okay. How cool is it that I've got frames that I love. I think they are so cute on my face, but I can now switch them out with any outfit that I have.
Yeah, so instead of buying numerous pairs, what Pair Eyewear does is you can snap on the frame. It's magnetic frame.
They within 2 seconds, pop one off, put a new one on. Sunglasses, bam. Blue blockers, bam. Glitter.
So awesome.
Bam.
Glitter. You're such a glitter girl. So true. But there's so many different colors and patterns. There's tortoise and wood grain. And then there's all the different collections like Marvel, Harry Potter. So anything you're pretty much into. You can do holiday designs.
Yes. It's basically like this generation's phone case. You know how when we were kids, you had the face plates on your phone?
Yeah.
You do that with your glasses.
You do that with your glasses.
It's the
Pop a
coolest
new
thing.
You're going out at night. You want to just wear like a sexy black with your black dress. You got your black frame.
Looking sleek.
Then you take that off. You want your glitter during the day. You know, you're going to a holiday party, throw on your holiday one. Yeah, because you buy the one frame and then you just get the magnetic top frame to switch it up. And so it's $60. It starts at $60, including prescription.
Yeah, and then you can choose from the hundreds of matching magnetic top frame designs, and it just makes it easy to change up your look, just like we said, all the time. Today, over 200 million children worldwide who need glasses can't get them, and every time you buy a pair of Pair eyeglasses, Pair provides glasses to children in need, which
I love that.
I did not know about that until Pair approached us.
So
and I just think that is so
buying-
cool and so important.
Yeah, you're buying a pair of Pair eyewear, and a child is getting glasses that needs them because 200 million worldwide can't get them. That's crazy. And
So
that's
good.
awesome. I love what they're doing. So this year you can experiment with who you want to be in 2023 with Pair. So go to paireyewear.com/WWB for 15% off your first purchase.
That's Pair, Pair, eyewear.com/WWB.
Thank you, Pair, for sponsoring our podcast. What are our other questions? Brian Abrul says, I love your podcast. Thanks so much for bringing joy. Always checking out the movies, TV shows you guys talk about. My question is, how was the filming process of Drive Me Crazy? And if Mel has any fun memories. I would also love to know how shooting was for the music video for Drive Me Crazy with Britney. Yeah, Drive Me Crazy was so much fun for me. It was actually called, Next to You. It was called Next to You when we shot it. Actually, it comes from I think a short story or a book called Girl Gives Birth to Own Prom Date.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was originally called Girl Gives Birth. I think when I read the first script, it was Girl Gives Birth to Own Prom Date. Because the character who plays my best friend, the actress's name was Susan. I can't remember her character name now. But she would do everything in headlines. Like her storyline was that everything was done in headlines. So you'll see it in the movie maybe 2 or 3 times. It's not as heavy as it was originally. But so it was that her headline was Girl Gives Birth to Own Prom Date. And
that's the weirdest.
When we started shooting it, they renamed it to Next to You. And so my director's chair back says Next to You on it. It's like 2 houses with the 2 in between. It's Next to You. And then they changed it to Drive Me Crazy because of the Britney Spears song. They decided, the president of Fox, because it was done on Fox, it was a Fox Studios movie, they decided to go to court and fight for like the name Drive Me Crazy. So they wanted that title so badly because they wanted Britney Spears' song to be attached, which at the time I was like, we're going to like take a pop song and like make it a part of the, like I had called Billy Corgan, was like, will you do the soundtrack for my movie? And he was like, I can't, sorry. And I was like, damn, I wanted it to be like super edgy cool. But of course it was just another teen movie, so we went pop route. But I loved working with Britney.
Beloved.
I loved it. You know, I just watched someone did an edit, and so I posted it just the other day on my Instagram, and now I want to watch it again with my kids and see, because my kids are in high school now. I like want them to see a high school movie like that.
I think the older 2 could definitely,
But Next to You, no, Drive Me Crazy was super fun because it's the first time I really worked with an acting coach, so that was interesting. I was working with a trainer because it was a big budget movie. They let me bring my trainer with me. We were shooting in Utah. I was shooting Sabrina during the week in LA. I was shooting that movie over the weekends at nights in Utah, flying back and forth. I think there was one day every week that I didn't sleep. Sunday night, I would not sleep. I would work all night and go fly straight to the set. Like I would sleep on the plane for like an hour and get to set for Sabrina. And then I'd go record the animated series that afternoon. So I wouldn't sleep in between Sunday morning when I woke up. Sunday I'd wake up at like 5 p.m. and go straight to work. And I wouldn't sleep again until Monday night. So I would just skip like a whole night's sleep. And we worked like 52 days straight on that movie. So it was really hard, but it was really fun. It was nice to work at a slow pace because in television you kind of like film 5 to 10 pages at a time. And it's a lot. On a movie you shoot like 2 pages a day, which is really a nice pace to go at. You kind of have your time. I was dating one of the boys in the movie, so that was really
Not
fun.
Adrian.
Not Adrian. Adrian was dating Ali Larder, and I was dating Gabriel Carpenter, who played. It's funny, we dated the people that we were chasing in the movie. But
oh, cute.
Adrian
Fun
and
fact.
I had a lot of fun together.
That was his pre-Entourage days.
It was pre-Entourage. He had just done a Sundance movie that was a big deal, and then this was his second movie out. So it was really fun. Yeah, I have really good memories of it.
That's awesome. Diamond Della 88 says, what is one thing you would never do again? This one's hard.
What's one thing you would never do again?
Oh.
Well, I'm probably never gonna have another baby. Does that count? Not because I wouldn't, but because
one thing you would choose not to do.
One thing I would choose not to do again, like eat dairy, just because I become lactose intolerant at my old age. What's one thing I would never do again? I'll probably never snowboard a half pipe, but that's just because I'm old and fragile.
What's something that you maybe hated doing once and you would never do it again?
Okay. There's got to be something. That's a tough one.
It is so hard. Like I'm thinking through like.
I feel like we should put this on our Instagram page and everybody come up with what your answer is. I'm sure some of you at home are like yelling it out right now, but I can't think of one. What's yours? I will never write another book about my life. How about that? I never want to write another book about my life.
That's fair. Well, I would say scuba diving, but I've never actually gone scuba diving, but I would never scuba dive again.
No? It's so fun.
No, it terrifies me.
I know.
There's so few things in life that I am scared of, and scuba diving is definitely at the top of that
once
list.
you get below the surface, like just a few feet, it would change your mind.
What would I never do again? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I will never bungee jump.
Have you done it before?
No.
But you would never do it?
No, because I always wanted to as a teenager.
Oh, you know what I never want to do again? Once we accidentally went on this really windy road that had a funny name. I think it was the Dragon or something like that. The Tail of the Dragon.
Oh.
And when I say by accident, we did not intend to do this. But we were driving from North Carolina home, and we were like, we'll just take some back roads, scenic route.
Ooh. Vomit.
The GPS definitely redirected us. And when I tell you it's called the Tail of the Dragon, it is literally like this through mountain roads. And it's like people on motorcycles do this for like sport.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they have a lot of fun with that.
There we are in my Suburban.
Oh.
With all the kids in the car. I mean, there's like legit photographers hiding in the bushes taking pictures of these like motorcycles as they come down.
Oh, really?
And there's a picture of us in our Suburban that they took as well coming down. We're just holding on for dear life, trying not to yak up our hot boiled peanuts and make it home.
Boiled peanuts.
Major regret there.
Boiled peanuts. Yikes. Okay, so here's a question. Let's see. This is from Crystalline35. Love the pod, ladies. Thank you. Are there any new storylines of on a Sabrina that were thrown around but ultimately never came to fruition? I binge Sabrina every year and would love to hear the alternate realities. Actually, there really is not. The scripts that we would read at our table reads, which is how we start our week, is reading the table read, reading the script through. Then we go put it on its feet, and then we show the network, and there's notes. So there are some episodes that changed dramatically over the course of a week. But I was shocked when I went on like shows like That 70s Show, or I went on Just Shoot Me. Mm-hmm. I went on Just Shoot Me as a guest star. I was David Spade's prom date because he goes back in time. Like he's like, it's like a Never Been Kissed kind of thing. He pretends to be, no, not Never Been Kissed. What is it? He pretends to be a reporter in high school.
Yeah, that's
and
Never
I'm
Been
his
Kissed.
prom
No,
date.
yes, it is.
There's a Drew Barrymore movie that's like
that's
that.
Never Been Kissed.
But so this episode, he goes back in time, and I become his prom date, and I'm like madly in love with him. But when I went on that set of Just Shoot Me, it was crazy. We read one script, and by the time we shot it on Friday, like we read one script on Monday morning, by the time we shot it on Friday, we could have had 2 totally different episodes.
Really?
They were completely different. So Sabrina, so I was like, this happens? I would be so mad if that happened, if we had a completely different episode at the end of the week. There'd be a lot of things that would change, characters that would come in and out, actors that would change, but not in a dramatic sense. The only one that I really had a hard time with was one I directed. It was a Christmas episode where Roxy, Soleil Moon Frye's mom, played by one of the Charlie's Angels, we go to visit her in Florida or something, and it's Christmas, and then Sabrina makes it so that it freezes, the pool freezes over, and everybody can ice skate or something like that. And I directed that one. I had a hard time with some of the stuff that was going on in that script. That script was a little bit not tight enough for me, and it's probably the only time, because I hate as an actor, I don't want to be the one that's like, let's rewrite it. This isn't working for my character. Usually I'm like, it's my job to make this work. Like, you guys saw this in your head somehow, tell me, or help me work with this. Like, how can we make this happen? And I'll change things if the blocking doesn't work and whatnot. But directing that one was a little bit tough because just certain things didn't work. So I don't know if you ever watched that episode, that you'll see that there's a choir. And one of my friends is actually in the choir. There's like 4 people, and they're kind of like carolers, but they're in bikinis. And so they stand in every doorway that opens is sort of a magical trick to keep somebody, I forget the episode, but like it keeps somebody inside. So there's this caroling that happens, and every time someone tries to leave the room, and there's these carolers kind of blocking the way. And I decided to use them a little more often in the storyline, and kind of the storyline didn't feel like it wrapped up nicely, and especially for a Christmas episode, I wanted to wrap up really nicely. So I did this whole thing with like ice skating on the pool and the carolers all around and that kind of thing. So that's the only thing I can really think of as far as Sabrina goes. Now, Melissa and Joey, there was supposed to be an episode where I go with my friend, played by Christine Lakin, who you might know from Step by Step. She was on the show, and they had written an episode where she was going to go to a sauna with me and kind of decide that men weren't working out for her, that she was going to be a lesbian, that she was going to try being a lesbian for a little while. and the executives squashed it completely. I mean, it was like a really funny episode where Joey gets upset because he's dated her, so now he thinks that he's turned her away. So now he has to go to the lesbians to try to like turn one back. Like he wants to make someone hetero because he thinks that like, oh my gosh, I made her a lesbian, so now I've got to make someone hetero. So anyway, I thought it was
kind of see why they probably thought
racy,
that might be.
It was dangerous territory, but instead we did a lesbian wedding episode, and I just thought it wasn't nearly as funny or edgy. Like we could have had a lot of fun. There could have been a lot of interesting topics and conversation around the other episode. I just thought it was a funny, silly way to go about it. But yeah, it just became a lesbian episode instead, which was interesting.
Well, speaking of Sabrina episodes that never made it,
yeah.
We have another AI.
An AI? Shall we do an
script
AI?
for you.
All right, so you guys have all heard about these, like, what did I just read? That AI, they just did like in Congress. The first time last week, AI was read in, like an AI report was read in Congress for the first time or something last week. Or this week.
Oh, and AI, I guess, passed the bar this week.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so it's like there's a lot of AI going around. So
that's wild.
We're going to do Sabrina Meets Clarissa. Are you guys ready for this? All right, the scene opens in Sabrina's bedroom. Sabrina is sitting at her desk, working on a spell. Suddenly, there's a knock on her door. Now, guys, remember, this is written by a computer. Wait, are you
Sabrina or Clarissa?
Good question. Which one do you want me to be?
I think you should be Sabrina. I'll be Clarissa.
Okay, wait, but tell me this. So all Logan did was put Sabrina Meets Clarissa in an AI thing, and this is what it pumped out.
I believe that
There's nothing else written by a human.
No. The prompt was Clarissa meets Sabrina in an episode of Sabrina.
Okay, in an episode of Sabrina. So technically this is Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and now Clarissa is coming into the show. Okay, so let me go back. So sitting at her desk, working on a spell, there's a knock on her door. Sabrina opens it to find Clarissa standing there with a big smile. Clarissa, what are you doing here?
Hi, Sabrina. I heard about your powers and I thought it would be so cool to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. I've been a fan of your show.
Thanks. Can I see some of your magic?
Sure thing. Snap, and a bouquet of flower appears in her hand.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's nothing. She snaps again and the flowers disappear.
So what kind of spells do you usually cast?
Well, I mostly use my powers to help my friends and family, but sometimes I use them for fun too.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility.
It can be, but it's also really cool to have these powers.
Can you teach me a spell?
I'd love to. She takes Clarissa's hand, leads her to the spell book. The scene ends with Sabrina teaching Clarissa a spell and Clarissa happily casting her spell. The scene continues with Sabrina and Clarissa looking through Sabrina's spell book. Interesting. Here's a spell that might be fun for you. It's a spell to make someone disappear.
Really? That's perfect. My brother Ferguson is always bugging me.
Yeah, brothers can be a pain. But before we cast the spell, you have to be aware that this spell is not reversible, so you have to make sure that you really want to do this.
I'm sure. I've been dreaming of getting rid of him for a long time.
All right, let's do it. She hands Clarissa the spell book. You'll need to recite this incantation and focus on your brother's face.
Got it. She clears her throat and begins reciting the incantation. If we go for blah, 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 blah. As she recites the incantation, a bright light fills the room, and when it fades, Ferguson is nowhere to be found.
It worked. Oh, that's you.
Oh, it worked. He's gone.
Yeah, it seems to have worked, but remember, you can't undo the spell, so you have to be sure that you're okay with that.
I understand. I'm happy with my decision.
The scene continues with Clarissa and Sabrina high-fiving each other as they both know this spell is irreversible. Suddenly, strange things start to happen in the house, such as objects moving by themselves, strange noises, and a ghostly figure of Ferguson appears in a different place. Clarissa starts to feel guilty and scared.
Sabrina, I think I made a mistake. I think Ferguson is haunting us.
Oh, that's not good. We have to find a way to put him to rest. That's dark.
They start researching in Sabrina's spell book and talking to other witches. They find out that the spell they used was irreversible, and the only way to stop the haunting is to apologize and ask forgiveness from Ferguson's spirit. Nervously, Clarissa said, I'm so sorry, Ferguson. I didn't mean to hurt you. Can you forgive me?
As she speaks, the ghostly figure of Ferguson disappears and the strange occurrences in the house stop. It looks like he's at peace now.
I feel terrible for what I've done. I never realized the consequence of my actions.
It's important to understand that using magic can have serious consequences. It's important to use it responsibly and think things through before acting. The scene ends with Clarissa reflecting on her actions, Sabrina reminding her of the importance of responsibility when using magic. Because with great power
comes great responsibility.
No, I just made that part up. That's not in the script. That's funny.
So we killed Ferguson.
We killed Ferguson and we put him to peace. He's at peace.
He's at peace now.
He's at rest. And I love that what we didn't read was like every single line has a direction.
Oh, yeah.
So surprised, excited, smiling,
Nodding.
grinning, nodding, laughing, explaining, nodding. Like, oh my gosh, that is really funny, but would never.
We should let somebody else create the prompt for next week.
Yeah. That's a good idea. All right, guys. So write to us on our Instagram
Somebody
page
else create the script.
come up with our prompt. Thank you guys for being here with us. And we have some exciting episodes coming up for you guys, including a book club, including a special guest. So
don't forget to review Apple Podcasts this week. We'll see you over there.
and write our questions there, because that's where we're going to look for our questions for next week. Thanks, guys. And have a great rest of your week.
Bye.